Hello, everyone. My name is Alexander Romenkov. Today is 26th of November, 2023, and I'm continuing my series, Daily Reality with Alex. As you can see, it is already snowing down there in Bulgaria, but I would like to speak today about a very important topic, and I'm amazed. And of course, it's not so easy for all of us to understand what is the meaning of the reality of one, what is the meaning and the definition of one, and how it is expressed in the way we are seeing reality. And this is the reason why I'm first for myself exploring this topic, and also once you realize it, once you are open to understanding the reality of one, then we are able to discover so many much more things and to live our daily reality much more aligned with what actually is. Because this is, for me, the big quest for all of us, to know what actually is, to accept it, and to be aligned with what is. Because it doesn't matter how much we want to change it, it will not be able to be changed. So let's start with the reality of one. And the most important thing is how it is one, and then what is the meaning of oneness and what is the meaning of wholeness. Since I am a Christian and I believe in the one and only Jesus Christ, who is the Savior of all the world, yes, in the same time, in the Christian faith, there is the Father, the initiator of everything, because I know a lot of people are discussing there's the gender, why there is a father, where is the mother, and so on and so on. But the most important thing is, instead of going into different details of non-understanding, which is fine, for me, it's much more better to go and to contemplate the fundamentals. And today I was willing to contemplate on the fundamental of one, and how is it possible to be one and everything in the same time? How is it possible to be in everything, as we, the human beings, have understood that God, whatever our description for it is everywhere in everything, and in the same time, we, the human beings, are personalizing it as one, or at least as some type of individualization, because it's not possible for us to think without the limits of the individualization. But once we understand the meaning of the one, and it is very important, because falsely, according to me, and of course, this is one of the streams of consciousness towards which the ego is sometimes leading us, is that we are the one, that I am the one, and that you are the one. And for me, the biggest distinction is when I look in how, in the storytelling of the Bible, how Jesus was expressing the one. He was not against being the one. He was not against expressing the wholeness of the one, but maybe he had a much more deeper understanding about the one. And when I'm looking into the different type of religions and the different types of stories that were given to us as humanity, it is very important to go into the minds, to go into what was happening down there, and to understand why they were contemplating in this way reality in the ages that they were living. But the important thing about the one is how it's possible to be the one, how it's impossible in one everything to be gathered together, and how this one and what it consists of, and what is everything. Because if we don't understand the complexity of the reality and all the elementals and the functionals, and there are a lot of teachings and a lot of information about this, but once we grasp the bigger picture, and once we understand the monad, the oneness, and that it is possible, the one, to be in everything, and the one to be the whole, and the one to be all, then our identification with the one is totally different. And for my own personal reality, how I'm expressing it and how I'm understanding the one is as follows. Once we realize that the one is actually the wholeness, then from one side we have the individualized, personalized consciousness of Alexander Armenkov, of you, of all of you that are listening. But on the other hand, we have all the humanity, all the creation, all the elementals, all the functionals, which are part of the one. So how in the same time, the wholeness and the individual expressions are the one. And in my daily reality, what I'm understanding more and more, and why it's not good for any one of us all the time to identify with the one and to say, well, actually, I am the one, it is okay. But if you say, I am the one only, then it's a problem, because all of us are part of the one. All of us are one in this specific type of expression. And then we go to the realization of what is actually the human being created to be. It is a very important part, because the basic questions which all of us cannot understand, and that's why we go so strongly into our individualized expression, and this is the only thing that matters for us. Because once we understand that we are the one as part of the whole, then we realize that all the humanity, all of the species are the one, and only then I can relate to the meaning of Jesus, a representative of the species of the human creation, which is identified with all of us to be the one. Because only then it is possible, the one and the whole, to be part of everything. But then we can say, Alex, but now you are excluding all the functionals, all the elementals, and it is not possible because they're also part of the one. The difference between the human beings and the elementals is that we are complex, multidimensional types of beings that, if you haven't found out yet, it is good to find out that we don't have a definite purpose, a definite function, because we are complex beings and we are not created to be the functionals. Because if we were created to be functionals, it's much more easy for us to be robots that are very good and perfect into a specific functions. But once we come here in this realm, we come as something very weak and something very empty, as something that is eager to be filled, to be adapted to the specific situation, just because there is no specific function. But this is, of course, one part of how the human being is entering this reality. On the other part, we have everything that is embedded as a specific role and purpose into this human individualized consciousness that is to reveal for all of us, and by becoming part of the one, to express the uniqueness for which it will be prepared to express itself in this realm of reality. And that is why it is very important, when we identify ourselves with the one, to know that we are one only if we are not excluding the wholeness of all that are around us, because it needs at least two in order the one to exist. And this is the only way we can paraphrase how in the scriptures, Jesus was saying that only if two or more are gathered together, then I am in the midst of them. It is the meaning that one human being that is representing 100% the one, it's very fine and wonderful, but this is not the meaning and the purpose of the humanity to have only one individualized consciousness. And today, in our reality of realm of existence, we are more than 8 billion of us, and all of us are the one. So, in a sense, the more the one is expanding, the more the one is detailized, the more the one is going into the unique expression of all these beings, the more oneness is actually expressed paradoxically. And this is the problem of how we understand reality, because paradoxically, in reality, everything is opposite to what we think that it is. And just by accepting the possibility of everything to be, only then we can reconcile the oneness and the one and the whole and the wholeness. So let me tell you one thing more that differentiate humanity from all other types of elementals, functionals, and even the other types of beings which are very good and strong into specific tasks, into the existence of the realm of the visible. And that's why when we speak about the aeons and when we know about the gods, there are gods with specific functionalities. And the human beings are, as part of the one, don't have a specific personality, but to express the creator. And how can we express the creator? And all of us are just thinking, well, Alice, if there is a creator, why he is not more visible? Why can't we see this one? Why can't we experience the one? Because we are part of the one. Can you find in yourself a very strong and wonderful and powerful experience of this hand, and to start loving this hand and to become attached to this hand, and this to be your favorite hand? More than everything else, more than my ear, more than my other hand, more than my nose, and so on. As we see the human body, it is a one. Yes, it's full with functionality, it's full with organs, it's filled with so many billions of cells which are having individualized specific purpose, and yet we are able to express through this body the one individualized, personalized, unique expression that we can call it Alexander Ermenkov. But this is not enough, because everything is fractal, and as I am an individualized, complex expression in this reality, so are you, so is everyone around you. Only then it is possible for us to not distinguish between the good ones and the bad ones, between the ones we love and we are able to embrace, and the ones which are our enemies, the ones we hate, the ones that are against us. And I can give you a very up-to-date example with what is happening in our reality, for example, between the Jews, between the Muslims, between the Christians, and how all the humanity is trying to separate and to choose sides. If we have the understanding of the one, we know that everything, both of the parts, both of all the separations, are part of the one. And as we are objecting, watching, and understanding reality, we love everything. We are in connection with everything. Everything that we are monitoring is expressing the one in all its forms. And then, of course, we cannot accept this because we think that perfect reality is what we think that perfectness is. Yet I have come to the realization that everything that is daily allowed to be expressed in the way we humans perceive reality is 100% for this very moment from the perspective of the future, the past and the present, the perfect and the only type of reality that is allowed to be expressed. And I know that this is not able for us to conceive, since we want everything to exist simultaneously, and only if we embrace the reality of the one, we will be able to go into the collapsing power of the quantum wave particle collapsing, because then we will be strongly willing to manifest something specific that is, for example, unique for us. And if we see it in this type of conflict, for example, the Jewish people there, or at least part of them, are expressing something specific against the other part, and then the other part is also expressing something specific against the previous one. And yet, both of these expressions we are to be able to embrace, to understand, to go beyond all these expressions, and to understand not only the sources, but long-term to know that all the expressions are part of the one. And then we can ask our question, well, how is it this then possible, the one to be perfectness and the one to be good, if we are experiencing such a chaos? And for example, if the human beings are constantly striving and working towards perfection, but of course, if possible, without alignment with the source, with the one, with the monad, with the most highest one, because only from there the real type of expression of perfection is possible to come. And in order this type of expression to come, all of us, which are part of individualized consciousness of keeping and defending and proving specific type of interests, to be able to transcend them and to know that our purpose is to be the one, to express the one, and of course, long term, to embrace the wholeness. Long term, to move towards the realization of the harmony and possibility of everything to exist. And well, there is the free will. Alex, some of the individualized consciousness, some of us are willing to grasp and to express streams that are from the below. We cannot forbid, we cannot eliminate everything that is considering of having long-term a negative results and negative, so to say, expressions, and it is a destructive force for the one. Because anyhow, in reality, there are always and every day two streams. The first stream is the stream towards more individualizations and less wholeness, towards more individualized expressions of independence from the one, because this is also part of what is possible. And the more we are disaligned from the harmony and from what is the structure of reality, the more we are going into the false individualization of the so-called oneness, and the more we are going to experience the otherness. And then this otherness is going to create conflicts with these specific ones that are not willing to be part of the whole. And then this is why the only solution for the world peace is if all of us are able and long-term willing to embrace the oneness of the wholeness, where each of us 8 billions are thinking more about how we are to create, how are we to manifest the wholeness that is beautiful and wonderful for all the human beings. And the big problem is that we have these elites in the moment. We have an architectural structures through organizations that is created to represent how the human beings are able to construct such type of a reality. And the problem there is that through all these types of organizations that are pushing towards a better and beautiful and more wonderful and humanity, is that they are working without the necessity to be aligned with the real sources and source of everything. And that's why long-term wholeness and oneness is possible if all of us individually are more and more aligned, each one of us, to the whole, and we are expressing more the common good for all of us. Because the moment each one of us goes into the individualizational path, we create the otherness. Everything else is going to become our enemy. And only if we are able to dissipate and to dissolve the split between the oneness and the otherness, only then we are going to be able to express what is. So, in a sense, for me, it is very important when I'm moving through my reality, am I creating collisions? Am I creating otherness? Because the more otherness I'm creating, the more conflicts I'm creating. But on the same time, I know that otherness already exists. And I know that I cannot make the other camp to become part of my camp, and it is not able for us to unite in the material part of way, but still I am to look in the otherness and embrace it and accept it as it is, and long term to see the vision that everything is anyhow connected to the one, and long term I can see the oneness in the otherness. Of course, the otherness is part of how we are distinguishing reality and how we are able to separate and to go into the comfort zone of at least experiencing the oneness in a small type of a communal type of spirit or presence and so on. But long-term, the otherness and the oneness is some processes and some type of mental understanding that we are to constantly reconcile with each other. But it is only possible if we understand the principle of the one, the wholeness that contains the otherness, and the otherness is never going to disappear, but the otherness is going to take its place in the long-term oneness that is transforming all the reality. And in a sense, we need the otherness in order to appreciate the oneness. And of course, this is part of the wholeness. So it is important for all of us when we move to our daily realities, when we see things that we don't like, things that we identify as part of the otherness, as part of things I don't resonate with. Yet, paradoxically, to force ourselves and to be bonded with this part of the things we prefer not to be associated with. And how I personally have solved this problem, I enjoy being and experiencing everything opposite to what is comfortable to me and for me in order to understand it. This is how light and darkness is working. This is how the shadow and the expression of the light is working. This is how the oneness and the otherness is working. Instead of staying into the conflict, it is much more wonderful to dissolve it, to stay in the camp of the otherness, and to start understanding why the precious individualized consciousness are expressing exactly the opposite of what I think is right, and why it is actually allowed in these right, special, specific moments of histories to be expressed. And that's why I'm enjoying watching, I'm enjoying my reality, I'm enjoying all the conflicts, I'm enjoying everything around me, and I'm enjoying it as the perfect expression of the wholeness and the long-term oneness that is able to be revealed step by step, and how the human consciousness and the human expression and everything in reality long term is coming to the conclusion of understanding the principle of the one. And how the more we are striving towards finding this one, the more we are going to understand that all of us, everything out there is the one, together with our inner experience. So once we come to this dissolving, that there is not such thing as inner and outer world, but that everything is as, only then we are going to stop this otherness type of experiencing the reality. So thank you for watching. Enjoy your reality. Enjoy being the one. Enjoy expressing the one. Enjoy embracing the one through embracing the otherness. And the most important thing is to enjoy your unique role into the oneness and the wholeness of all. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your reality. It is so wonderful to discover it, to express it, to enjoy it, to be, to exist. And that's why never miss any opportunity to express yourself. Bye-bye.